I'm sorry is a phrase we all learned in kindergarten. After an argument with your sibling ends in name-calling and hurt feelings, we say sorry and all is well again. As we get older, arguments with siblings turn into bitter disagreements with friends and shouting matches with significant others. The words "I'm sorry" become increasingly difficult to say. We become less concerned with the feelings of those around us and more concerned with our own pride. To apologize is to admit weakness, and weakness is simply not acceptable. Instead of viewing forgiveness as an act of closure and healing, we see it as giving a free pass to those who have caused us pain. I don't mean to say forgiveness is an impossible task. Granted, it isn't easy to look at someone who has hurt you and cast away all feelings of ill will and pain. As the saying goes, the first to apologize is the bravest, and the first to forgive is the strongest. Forgiveness is something I can relate to on a personal level. When I was 7 years old, my father left me. I was young, naive, and failed to realize what had happened until after a week he didn't come home. My mother packed his things, we lost our house, and moved in and out of various rentals. All the while, I watched my mother spiral into a void of depression. Her marriage of 15 years was over, and she couldn't cope alone. I grew resentful. There were no warning signs. There was no explanation or reason. My father never contacted me. It was as if he had never existed. My mother's spirit was broken. For years, I watched her struggle to care for me and my brother. We moved away from my hometown. I never spoke of my father. I was angry. 9 years later, I am still angry. I resent him with every fiber of my being, and it tears me up inside. For years, forgiving him seemed unfathomable. I would not, I could not, and would never recover from the pain he had caused me. And so, unwilling to move past the events of my childhood, I carried the sense of loathing around with me, allowing it to take control. I have not yet found the strength to forgive my father, but I believe that one day I will. The act of forgiveness is complex. It forces us to question our feelings, our actions, and the way in which we perceive others. Forgiveness is not always easy. At times, it is more painful than the wound we have suffered to forgive the one who has inflicted it. We must forgive ourselves, not for others. Issuing forgiveness to those who have wronged us does not mean we must give them our trust or invite them back into our lives. When we allow ourselves to forgive, we are relinquished from the burdens brought on by anger, pain, and resentment. The simple act of forgiveness is the solution to so many of the problems we see in the world. Forgiveness for wrongdoing, mistakes, and lapses in judgment on a global scale could have the potential to prevent international conflicts, crisis, and combative responses to simple misunderstandings. Forgiveness cannot change the past. It cannot heal wounds, reverse time, or fix relationships. But it can make the future a better and brighter place. Mahatma Gandhi once said, "The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong." I believe in strength. I believe that it derives from our past experiences and lives within our hearts, growing larger each time we embrace the challenges life presents us with. I believe in determination. No matter how difficult the task may be, we can and we will overcome it. Most of all, I believe in the power of forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the most strenuous and emotionally challenging tasks we will ever face. Though at times it may seem impossible to forgive those who have caused us unimaginable pain, by doing so, we are set free from the constraints of anger, sadness, and grief, and thus allow ourselves to grow stronger and more content than we ever thought possible.
Couldn't sit back and let the sun light in my lap. I sang a hymn to bring me peace, and then it came a melody. It felt so sweet, it felt so strong.